how would you like to put together your own flight? And how would you like to do it where you progress from inexpensive bottles to expensive bottles? That's what I'm going to show you here today on the channel. I've got some budget-friendly options over here. I've got some mid-range options over here, and then I've got some expensive options over here. The whole goal is for me to tell you out of each one of these groupings which one is my favorite, so that you can make some decisions for yourself in the future, decide how you like it. But ultimately, I'm going to look at all 9 of these bottles, so it's going to be a little long. Bear with me, and then we're going to talk about each one individually. Of course, you got your water, which is always important when you're doing a flight. You want any kind of tasting, you want to have something to balance it out. Also, make sure you don't get too drunk too quick, and you also want to dilute whiskey, especially if you have cask strength or something that's 46%. I mean, I personally like 40%. I know some people who like 43 to 55, fine, but I don't normally like that. I also recommend to have some like saltine crackers, even some popcorn to go along with it, something that kind of helps absorb the flavors and helps balance you out when you need to. I like to do chocolate. I like to do almonds. You can do whatever you want. It's your decision to make. But remember, you don't want anything that's going to mask the flavor of the whiskey or is going to complement it too much to make it to where you miss out. So early on, try not to do too much of that. But later on, do whatever you want when it comes to pairings. I like to pair it with chocolate because I love chocolate. I even do olives and cheese sometimes. Okay, so what do we have here first? We got a Dewar. So we got a 12-year over here. I'm going to do a little pour for each one. I would say I drink a little bit of budget whiskey, but not too often, to be honest. I'm drinking things that are probably only mid-grade. This Dewar's right here is going to be about, I guess, $30 for each bottle. This Shieldaig right here, this is going to be a 12-year, and this one's about $50 per bottle. That's what you can only pick it up for. And of course, this is an old number 7 Tennessee whiskey. Look, I know I'm mixing some scotches with some bourbon, whatever. I'm going to do it with some rye as well. I'm going to do a bunch of other interesting things because it's whiskey. For me, I look at whiskey all the same. Let's go ahead and do this on our nose first. Lovely, actually. Get some honey. Almost got like a little bit of floral type citrus and just enough oak. It's almost like a little bit of a marzipan too. Nice, very nice. Let's go ahead and see what this Shieldaig 12 years smells like. Lovely. Almost like flowers and pear. Just a little tiny bit of smoke. A little bit of spiciness in my nose. I like that. Let's take a look at this old number 7 Jack Daniels. Can't really go wrong with this. I mean, you're getting a lot more vanilla, caramel. You get like some toasted oak as well. And that's what you're normally picking up from this. From all my palate. And then let's just make a decision on which one we like here. You get like a really cool, almost like brioche flavor to your mouth right off the back. A little bit of vanilla, a little bit of soft spice. Hits you a little hard because, of course, it's a 12-year, so it's a little rough. So I'm going to give myself a little bit of water and, maybe a raisin. I don't know. Let's try out this Shieldaig 12-year. I mean, you're getting like tropical fruit. You're also getting like this smoky citrus. Nice. I mean, I like it. It's actually really good. For a bottle that's around like almost close to $50, really can't go wrong with that. So, wasabi almond. Let's go with this Jack Daniel number 7. It's actually a pretty good whiskey to deal with. Something to have that you keep on hand. It's good with Coke as well. I'm not gonna lie, I've had it with Coke plenty of times. Do I drink it neat often? Not really, but I mean, it's a really familiar flavor, something I'm used to. Get that caramel, you get a little vanilla, a little bit of mild spice. Out of the 3 of these, though, when it comes to price and it comes to something that's pretty amazing, honestly, you can't really go wrong with the Dewars. But I'm going to pick my Shieldaig 12 years, my number 1. I think it's got the most complexity here. And I think for around 40 to $50, you can't really beat it when it comes to comparison with these lower model budgets. Look, if you're going to have a small flight at home and you're trying out the budget brands, of course, our budget items from each one of those brands, you're going to look at these 3 most likely. These are what you're going to see in Total Wine or other places that sell liquor. And I mean, the Dewars is always a good one to have. It's, it's pretty, in my opinion, a pretty good one, but it's going to be a little bit bold and a little bit powerful. This is going to be a lot smoother and a lot more like sweets or like a dessert, as I would say. And this is going to have a lot more of the complexity that you're going to want out of a whiskey. So that's why that's usually my choice. And I'm going to pick that as my number 1 out of this grouping. So I'm going to move this to the front so you could see that. All right, now we're going to make our way over to the Dalmore. This is a 12-year. This normally goes for about, $70, somewhere in there. I mean, you might be able to find it for 60. but I've seen as high as 80, so sticks around that price point. The 15-year, I think this bottle is going for about $80 now. I know the past was going for around 60, but I think it's around 80 now. And this 12-year, this is the Glenmorangie. I think this one goes for around $70 as well. So they're all pretty equal in pricing, and they've all got their own different ways that you can look at it. This one has a lot more color to it because the way it's been finished, and of course the Dalmore has coloring that was added to it, and it's also chill filtered. So we're going to talk about each one and see how we feel about it on our nose. You got that orange, you get the sherry, and you get like a nutty spice. Lovely, honestly, very nice. You can't really go wrong with the Dalmore. It's my brother's favorite as well. Christopher, here's to you. Let's see. The Glenfiddich, this is a 15-year. You get like a baked apple, like a cinnamon. Yeah, nice. Actually, really nice. Very refined. You know, this grouping is really good for mid-ranges. The Glenmorangie, you get like almost a raisin, big, some cinnamon, almost like, you know, baking spice. Reminds me a little bit of the holidays. All right, let's go ahead and put them on our palate. Give myself a little water. And now let's go back to it. I mean, really elegant, honestly. It's like, you know, I would say almost like a toffee with dark fruit, you know, really nice. You get that fruitiness, it comes through uniquely. Let me hit myself with a cracker. Little water. Really will balance me out. And then let's go ahead and get on this Glenfiddich 12-year. I'm sorry, this is Glenfiddich 15-year. You get that space side goodness. You get honey, you get soft oak, you get things from it that are nice. You know, it's actually kind of reminiscent of this, but it's more elevated in my opinion. All right, let's get this Glenmorangie. The La Santa. Let's get myself one. Almond. It's actually a little more spicy than I remember. A little more rough, to be honest. But it's got some softness to it there. But it's, you know, baking spice. A little bit of, I would say, orange peel. It's almost a little too strong for me. It's a little too bitter, but nice. Good stuff. Out of this grouping here, you have to be honest, for the price point and what you're going to get, can't really beat the Dalmore 12. Is what it is. You know, for a bottle that's around $80 and for a bottle that's around $60, can't really go wrong with this Dalmore 12 years. So I'm going to make that my number one out of this grouping here. As you see, when I'm progressing through, you could tell that I'm picking out different styles of bottle. And if you wanted to switch this up, you could have switched up the old number 7 this way, because this was a lot softer, a lot more like sweet, and it's a little bit more rough. Could do the same thing over here. I would say maybe even put the Glenfiddich at the end so you can work your way from softness over to something that's a little bit more powerful and a little bit more full body. Okay, now let's work our way over to this XR21. This is part of the high-end grouping. As you can see, it's got high-end stuff. You know, that cork is pretty amazing. Yeah, try to smell that. It's got a very complex kind of smell right off the gate. And I think this bottle goes for around $150 normally. Let's go ahead and take out this Glenmorangie. It's the 18-year, extremely rare. Wow. It smells like dessert. Nice stuff. And then let's look at this Glenfiddich 21-year. Really odd one that I really enjoy. It's a little more expensive. You're looking at about $250 here. All right, so I'm gonna give them the real nosing. You almost get like a spiced apple, a warm brioche. I mean, you know, almost like a butteriness to it. It's a lot more layers to it. It's a lot deeper. You can all smell the oil in it. I love like a really oily mouthfeel of my whiskey. Glenmorangie, extremely rare, 18-year. I mean, it smells more like dessert. Almost like an apricot jam. Creme brulee. kind of like almost like an almond. And then let's see about this 21 year from Glenfiddich, the Gran Reserva. And you get like this banana, which I love. And of course, like some kind of rum cake, which makes this special. It's got its own distinct kind of smell to it, which I think is really nice and something that I find very interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and hit myself with a little bit of water. Let's go get a little bit more cracker. Let's put on our color. Smokiness, lots sweeter, almost like a light peat. Like this really nice orange lemon zest. A little acidic, a little bit of a burn, but not very much. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and do this extremely rare. Yeah, it's smooth, you know, it's got this silky smoothiness to it. It seems like it's going to hit you with some spice. It's got layers. It's got power in your mouth as soon as you taste it, like a nice dessert, and then goes down smooth. Something I love about Glenmorangie. And honestly, over the years, the more and more Glenmorangie that I've drank, the more and more I've learned to appreciate. Let's do the Glenfiddich 21 year. This is going to be our 25. This is going to be our $250 bottle. I mean, a lot more oak, molasses. You're getting tropical fruit. You're getting a lot of strong flavors here. Out of this grouping, which one would I pick? This is a tough one. The 21 I like. The price point is good on it. But between these two, I'm going to have to be honest. Even though I want to pick this one because I love it, the truth is, if you're doing a tasting and you're giving smoothness and you're introducing people to something interesting, most likely you're going to pick the Glenmorangie because I think this is the way to go. I want you to build your own flight. I want to learn about it. I want you to share it with me in the comments. This is something that I think is cool and I think it's fun, and this is how you should share alcohol. It's not something that you should push yourself into and over drink and over consume. You should go do flights. You should see the interesting different complexities here and talk about it. Here on the channel, we think that's important. That's why I have some special giveaways for you guys. Of course, there's a QR code that you need to scan or look at the link in the description. Click on it. You get an entry for every question you answer. And of course, if you're a subscriber, you get double the entries. So, of course, I love you guys being subscribers. I look forward to seeing you guys here again. Tell me what you thought about this whole big flight that went from budget bottles to mid up to the high end. I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are. And then try this out for yourself and let me know. Take care.